join me here today at Weston Pools, peg 9 on Stretton Lake. It's third round of the UK Champs. Done okay in the first two. Well, the first round I did okay, I was third, but the last round not so good on my home lake, Decoy Lakes. Drawn a nice peg. It's quite narrow. It's only about just over 14 metres wide. It does look nice, but I'm quite penned in really. There's a peg next door. There's a peg just over there. So although it does look a nice peg, a nice simple peg, I haven't got a lot of room really. So I'm gonna fish mostly pellets. I'm gonna start short, top kit and one, just with pellets on the hook, feeding pellets. Just sort of see how it goes really from there. And then I'm gonna have I've got a long, I'm going to be pinging pellets against a far bank as well. It's deep over there, it's probably 4 foot deep against a far bank, so possibly fishing shallow over there. Just sort of play it by ear really. Just ping pellets and see where they are. And then I've got a nice edge line, basically pellets again. I'm just going to be throwing pellets down there and fishing hard pellet on the hook again. So it does look a nice peg, but like I say, just haven't got a lot of room really. And just hope I think that's going to be the banker line against that far bank, if anything. That's going to be the one that's going to do the damage, if anything, and hopefully down that edge later on. But yeah, let's just see how it goes and give it a good go. Okay, right, about half an hour into the match now, and I started off short, like I think everyone did really. Everyone on the lake started short. I've only had a couple of decent F1s there, and some like little tiny, little tiny crucians, and a lot of funny activity short. There's like loads of bubbles and come off that one. Yeah, so I've only had like probably 6 or 7 fish short really, not a lot, and I've literally just gone out of my long line. I've been pinging pellets over there since the start. See now there's still loads of bubbles short. I've been pinging pellets out there, and I went over there on the deck to start with. It's quite deep over there, probably got 4 foot over there. And I sort of suspected it'll be more likely going to be shallow fishing over there. But I started on the bottom, and basically I've fouled up the first 2 fish. There's just a little baby moorhen in the peg. It's getting in the way at the minute. Yeah, so, didn't take long. Yeah, just going to say I sort of suspected it'd be shallow fishing over there, and I've just had 2 drops in, and well, basically 2 bites and 2 drops. So I think that's going to be the crack. Just ping pellets against them reeds. So it's deep over there. It's probably got 4 foot of water over there. And obviously too deep to catch on the bottom, and I think it's mostly F1s in this lake. Just gonna get them in, heading for me nets. Don't be silly. Try and keep some bait over there while I'm playing the fish. I'm hoping that's really going to be the banker line, if anything. I've been feeding down that edge as well. Obviously, it's a carp. I thought it was an F1. I've been feeding down that edge for later on. It's £2. It's probably got 3 decent-ish fish now. Just fishing a 6mm pellet. I did suspect it was going to be shallow fishing over there, so it's really deep against them reeds. It could be a real nice holding spot all day. Well, potentially. We're getting a bit ahead of myself, but if I could stay over there for most of the day. It's obviously a long way away from me, but it's just a bit worried. There's a peg opposite me and to the right. Ben's sitting over there. His edge line's not actually that far away from it. I suppose it is far enough away, but seems to be bites. I think I've literally just had 2 drops on this rig, about 15 inches deep I suppose I'm fishing. So I had a little bite then straight away. So keep constantly laying it in. I don't think I'll be able to slap it in. It's a bit, another bite. It's a bit awkward really. There's quite a lot of overhanging reeds over there. I think to like slap it in, I'm going to be catching on things, and there's a bit of a, missed 3 bites on the side. There's a bit of a log sticking out there as well, making it awkward if I wanted to slap it. So I'm just oh, there's one. I'm just lifting and just lowering my rigging every time. Just lowering it against them reeds. So rather than slapping it. Early signs are looking good though. So I've probably had 3 or 4 drops in. Looks like a good fish actually. It's over on that far bank. Come back. He's right near that pallet over there. Yeah, early signs are good. Keep some feed going over there. Don't want to leave it with no bait. Looks like a good fish actually. I think it's going to be a bit of a mixture over there. Probably some F1s, some carp, and maybe even some hide. Even though I'm fishing pellets. Hopefully sort of just catch a bit of all sorts. Looks like a good fish. Well, they do scrap a bit in here with them aerators running basically running for the whole match. These fish are so fit. Just keeps them swimming all the while. I think it's that big actually, but scrappy. Take your time, no rush, never rush fish. Probably only 2 or 3 pound, but so keep that feed going in. Can't forget to feed it. When playing a fish, you've almost sort of like got to forget about the one you're playing. Obviously get it in, try and get it in, but you're sort of lining up your next fish all the time. Keep some pellets going in over there. Just give me the run around a bit. I don't know this lake that well, or these lakes. I don't know this lake at all. I don't really know what's in here, or the size of fish, or I fish the other lakes, Belvedere and Weir, Clay Pit. I've never actually fished this lake. I'm sort of assuming that it's going to be F1s and mostly F1s I thought, but so far I've got one fish in and playing this one still, which obviously a carp as well. Could be more carpy. It don't want to come in. Feels like a barbel, but apparently there's not many barbel in this lake. There we go. Nice. It's not that big, but it give me the right run around. It's sort of 3.5 poundish, hooked in the side of the mouth. So I've probably got 3, 5, probably got 10 pound in that net. I've just had, I suppose, 5 pound in 2 fish. Like I say, the early signs are good on that line. Just whether they stay or not. Could do. So I've got a little bit of room over there. Sort of all a bit to myself. I say to myself, there's just two little baby moorhens, I think they are over there, being a bit of a pain. As I lower my pellet in, they're sort of having a go at it. Don't really want to be hooking them. Try and get it as tight as I can. Oh, a weed. Oh no, it's come off. Had a bit of weed dangling on me hook. So just get it as tight as we can to that. To them reeds. There's just a few straggly bits. Won't bite straight away. There's a few straggly bits over there that just fishing to the left of them. Ooh. Take long again. Sort of went across the surface. I think they're a bit shallower than what I'm fishing. I think I'm fishing about 15, 18 inches deep. I think I want to be a little bit shallower. F1, I think, by the feels of it. Nice fish though, nice F1s. It's a good fish, probably a pound and a half or so. It was way heavy F1s. Pound and a half fish. So that was literally a bite. As soon as it hit the water, it went across the surface and it was like a fish on. So early signs are good over there. I didn't really like that short line too much. It's bubbling away. It's still bubbling now while I'm feeding pellets. It's bubbling away, and I only actually caught 2 fish worth catching. So I don't know what's going on there. It's like a bit of a jacuzzi down there. And I actually dropped a shallow rig over that early on. I did have a small F1 on it. But I thought that ain't going to last. Fishing a top kit shallow, it's not exactly ideal. But I did have. Oh, I'm just near enough pulled the elastic out and it weren't there. So I'm just dropping as tight to them reeds as I can. Just pinging 4 mils over there. 6 mil on the hook. Oh, another bite. Lots of signs over there. There could be small fish over there as well. Little dips, but you do miss a lot of F1 bites when you're fishing up to cover. It's almost like a bite every time you put the rig in. Could be little roach, or I was going to fish casters. I was put off of it when I heard there's a lot of tiny silvers in there. So I thought, no, I'll stick with pellets. And hopefully when you get a fish, it's a carp or an F1. Let's just get them. Quite a few indications. Oh, missed another one. It was a bit deeper, that one. It was like the pellet had settled. It actually sat there a couple of seconds. Just pinged off one, and that felt like a little fish, that. I've got 2 or 3 rigs to fish this line. Probably got this one a little bit deeper, then I've got one a little bit shallower, sorry. And I've got a rig for fishing on the bottom, but I don't think the bottom rig's going to come into it. I think when you're fishing against reeds like this, that sort of depth of water, 9 times out of 10 you're going to be fishing shallow. Loads of little funny bites. I've just missed 3 or 4 on the trot there. Then we've got a duck coming in on the action. We've got a couple of more ends and a duck now. The pain, really. They're always sitting just off the end of my pole, them. Loads of funny bites. Oh, there we go. It looked exactly the same sort of bite as the one sort of 4 or 5 before it, which I missed, and then we get one. I think it's going to be a case of just going through the motions, missing bites. Pretty typical shallow fishing, I suppose. You're going to be missing bites, and all of a sudden the bite will look exactly the same as the ones before, and it's just at a pound or so. I'm trying to keep a track of what I got in my head at the same time as talking. It's just sort of strict 60-pound limit here, so I don't want to be going over my limit. I should use a clicker, but I'll try and keep a track of it in my head. Just feed that line down there with 6mm pellets down there, hoping to catch later. Catch some carp maybe down there, carp and F1s. So I don't know the lake that well, so I don't really know what lines are going to work. It's strange when you come to a new venue, you sort of think you know what's going to work, but then it doesn't. That's a bit awkward. That duck's just swam over that reed and laid it down right where I'm fishing. It's a bit annoying. You see that they're right against my float, they're just past my float. How annoying do you want to be? I'm trying to keep my feed this side of my rig, if anything, because basically all them ducks are doing are taking the feed that's landing in the rushes. I feel nice and safe there. Sit there having a free feed all day. Little baby F1. But there's bites, there's plenty of bites. Plenty of bites, that's the main thing. Just keep plugging away. You never know. Well, I've had 2 little carp on it already. I think it's one of them lines that anything could turn up. You can suddenly have 8-10 pound carp. It's sort of getting new fish coming into your peg all the while. That's it, go away ducks. 2 ducks and 2 baby moorhens. That's it, you swim away ducks. Oh no, the moorhens are back. I think they're moorhens, they might be coops. They've got their eye on my pellet. Every time I lay my pellet in, so they've got their eye on it. So I'm fishing a 6mm on there. I'm feeding 4s at the minute. I weren't sure whether to feed 4s or 6s. I'm pinging 4s at the minute. It seems to be alright. The 4s are good when you're not sure what you're going to catch. It's a mixture of fish. 4s are better. 6s a bit selective. If it's out and out carp fishing, I'll be pinging 6s over there, but stick with the 4s for now. Still loads of funny little bites. They probably are all F1s, them little dips. Super fast bites. They just keep lifting, lowering it in. Can't really slap it in. It's a bit too awkward to do that. Oh, I thought that was on. It's a bit too awkward to be slapping. I'd like to be having a slap with it, but I probably just missed 4 bites on the trot there. They're definitely on the way down now. If you leave it settled for a few seconds, you don't get one. I suppose typical shallow fishing really. They don't really have it when it's stationary. We've got 3 moorhens now. I'm joking. Get out of the way. That was the old helicopter. I've not really been looking around a lot. So I don't really know what's going on at the minute. A lot of people seem to be long shallow, so most people's short lines are probably dried up now. Looking around, everyone's long by the looks of it. But I'm on one of them pegs. I sort of got a nice feature to myself really. Oh, good F1. Everyone else is fishing into the open water and I've got a bank to fish to, which is Nice feature to have, really. Good fish, £2 plus. Still basically doing the same thing as we were probably half an hour ago. I've been trying various depths across to the far bank. I've just gone back on the slightly deeper rig because I've been getting loads of bites over there, lots of little crucians, and so I've just gone back on the slightly deeper rig just to see if there's any. If I can catch bigger fish slightly deeper. If not, I'm going to go back to the real shallower rig. That's interesting straight away. The real shallow rig, it's probably, I actually didn't have it set up at the start. I put it together a little while ago. It's probably less than a foot deep. I'm basically getting a bite every chuck, but I'm getting a lot of little crucians and all sorts of little fish. And I've literally just gone back out on this bit deeper rig. It's probably 15 inches, and I've got a 2.5 pounder straight away. So that's very interesting. So it might be a case of just laying this bit deeper rig in rather than slapping the little tiny shallow rig over and over. I was literally getting a bite every time it hit the water. I think hopefully that's just proved my point. Well, it's going to be bigger fish, slightly deeper. It's literally, every time I lay my rig in, it's getting quite annoying. Even though it was a fisher chuck, they're like 3 and 4 ounce, a lot of them. I'm just going to stick with this rig for a little while, just to see. It might have just been one of them coincidences that you think you've cracked it. It might be, oh yes, I've cracked it, but really it's just a lucky fish. But I'm just going to have a little go on it. I say on the other rig, it's literally, I've had a bite instantly. As soon as it hit the water, got an instant bite. Might be a case of fewer bites, but bigger fish. That's the theory. Let's see how it goes. Oh, it's missed one then. Already I've noticed straight away I'm not getting as many bites. If I slap the real shallow rig on the water, get off more than trying to eat the end of my pole there. Oh. They've been a right pain. Nearly took my pellet then. Get out of the way. Oh, missed a bite again. I'm still missing quite a few bites. I'm hoping that if by doing this, just catch bigger fish, but we'll give it a little while. If not, I'll get back on that other rig. Both rigs are, well, they're identical line wise and floats wise. They've both got I never fish with like fine mainline. I always fish 020 mainline. A lot of people would think that's really heavy, but it's just the durability, and it's the 020 loaded, frenzy loaded mono. and down to an 0.14 hook length. Obviously same again, loaded mono. He's going to, Morton's going to take it in a minute. And I've actually got a size, what have I got? A size 20, 0.814. What a fine hook, but strong. I didn't want to go too heavy, like going up to like a 14-20. I thought I'll fish the, still missing a few bites. I'll fish the 0.814s. They're plenty strong enough. If you hook a carp, they're plenty strong enough. Even though they're really sort of designed for winter fishing, for like small F1s and odd carp, they're perfect really. So we've got a size 20 to 0.8 to 0.14, and the FD 200 float. So both rigs are it's pretty frantic sometimes when you hook one. Both rigs are identical other than literally the depth. So this one's a bit deeper, sort of 14, 15 inches, and the other one's about 10 inches at a guess. That's really, like I say, it is interesting. That's literally two. Oh, I lost it. Ah, good fish that was. I think it was under that pallet over there. It just sawed me off on that pallet. I was just going to say that's two fish hooked on this deeper rig, and they've both been bigger fish as opposed to them little crucians, and that was a good fish that was. I felt it rub along somewhere. There's a platform over there. I felt it actually rub against it. Actually bust my line. But we'll stay on this rig. Definitely something in that. Keep feeding me other lines. So that's two fish hooked, and they've both been carp. That felt like one of them 4 or 5 pounders. Just lay it in. If I can keep laying it in rather than the other real shallow rig, I could like actually slap it in. It's such a short rig, I could slap it round and I weren't actually hooking on anything. There's that stump that comes out, I'd hook that. If I tried to slap this rig, I'd probably hook that stump. So I'm just laying this rig in. Oh, there's another one. Just laying the rig in, and as opposed to slapping it as one of them little tiny ones. So that's what I was catching on the real shallow rig. Catching one of them every put in. That's probably the smallest of the day, if anything. So it's busy fishing doing it. There's plenty of bites. But if I can just wait that a little bit longer on this rig and get a bigger fish, that's the fear. It didn't work that time. Keep that edge line fed. Hopefully catch some carp down there later. It's a lovely day. It's a lovely fishery this is. It's absolutely full of fish. The lad next door's catching a few. I don't think there's a lot in it between me and the lad next door. Can't really see him. I just keep seeing the end of his pole. He actually slowed me up when he's not over at the far bank at the minute, but he went over there not so long ago and he's basically messed my line up a bit. He's come back down the middle now. He's catching down the middle now, so I think he's ahead. I think he is, it's hard to tell. But just keep plugging away. It's best not to worry about what they're doing around you. Obviously keep an eye on them, but don't be worrying that they're beating you. It always feels that way. Whether you're ahead or they're ahead, they'll be thinking the same thing. Definitely not as many bites on this rig. A bit annoyed about losing that one earlier. happened there? I think my pellets fell off. That'll be why I didn't get a bite that time. Oh no, it ain't. It's gone a bit furry. Just change the pellet. We'll get this rig another few minutes, and we'll get back on the shallower rig. Definitely more bites to be had on that. So it's whether you're going to catch bigger fish on this or not. And 2 good ones I've hooked. Got one in and lost one. That was a bit annoying. Just lay it in. Still got the little baby moor hens or coops, whatever they are. Can't really tell from here. They're just sitting, well, actually on the far bank, treading around on the far bank. So I think there's another little one. Yeah. It's probably going to just be a case of fishing, basically fishing for everything. If it's one of these every chuck, and hopefully every now and then hook something a bit bigger. So I think I'm going to go back on the shallower rig in a minute. A couple more drop-ins. I'll definitely get a bite quicker on that rig. Give it a little slap over and almost home in on it straight away. And this is a thing you have to decide in matches, little tiny decisions. So the rig's only probably 6 or 8 inches difference. It's little decisions you got to make through the match. That sets it apart normally. Do you plug away catching everything? It's normally the way, to be honest. I'd rather just be catching whatever swims. But if there is a way to catch bigger fish, obviously you want to be doing it, but I thought I'd sussed it, hooking them 2 fish straight away. So I'll just give it a little bit longer. Don't like to discount things too quick. Oh, wind just got hold of that feed. Obviously you want to be as accurate as possible. That one went about 1 metre to the right of the float. The wind just caught hold of it as I went out. It's better. You can actually see the reeds moving, like little fish, as well as the moor hens moving about on them. Yeah, I think it's definitely back on that other rig. Oh, there's bites on this, but just a bit too slow, I think. So if it's going to be a case of every bite was a bigger fish, but I don't think that's the case. Oh, missed a bite. So he's got another one next door, but he just lost that. It's catching down the middle now. Might even be tempted to change to fishing down the middle. So if I can catch the same fish at 6 metres rather than 14 and a half, it could be the way to go. He's shipping back a 3 or 4 ounce crucian, 14 metres. Might as well be doing it at 6 metres. It's probably the quietest spell I've had actually all day. I'll get back on that other rig. Well, it could be a case of, I hooked them 2 bigger fish. I might have scared a few fish out of the peg for a bit. That's not a tiny one actually, it's a decent F1. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep plodding along. I think I'll try my other rig. I'll keep swapping rigs. I'm gonna go back to it now actually, while I think about it. The old saying, if you think about something, do it. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. I'm just going to try it again. If it turns into little tiny crucians again, I'll probably go back to that rig. So I've hooked 3 fish on that and they've all been bigger fish. So I'm just sort of trying to prove it to myself again by going back to this rig and then back to the other rig. And then I'll eventually settle on one or the other. Just keep plodding along. Right, so I'm still fishing the same part of my peg, but basically I've just been chasing them up and down really. I've just put my deck rig on out there, which is quite deep. It's sort of like 4 foot, 4.5 foot. I've just started, it's gone really funny, shallow, like various depth shallow, and I've sort of really slowed up. I thought I'll try this deck rig. I've just had an hide on it of all species. And basically I'm just getting loads of liners, so I don't think this is the way forward. I'm just going to give it a few minutes. Oh, let's hook something then. So yeah, just probably foul up. Just going to give it a little while. So I've had one little look down the edge. I've not really tried any other line since that start when I was on the short line. There's been fish over there. I've been plugging away. I think the last 3 fish have been carp, like 3 or 4 pound carp. So there's fish over there still. But it's just gone funny. I'm just going to give this bottom rig a little try, just to see if it's any better. But I don't think it is. I think I might try a slightly deeper, shallow rig, as opposed to I was on the one about 15 inches. I think I've got one a little bit deeper than that, so I might try that in a minute. So I've just gone a bit funny. The small fish that I was catching earlier, all them little tiny crucians and F1s, which was literally a bite every chuck in. I think they've almost disappeared. I'm still getting an odd one, but early on it's literally a bite a chuck off them. There's actually a bit of a pain, if anything. Well, I've caught quite a few of them, so it's all weight to the net. But I don't think this is right, this bottom rig. It's just so deep over there. It's almost like you're not really going to catch much. The ducks and the moor hens or coops things, whatever they are, them little babies, they've been a pain all day as well. Keep dropping into my peg off the far bank. There's a whole family of them there not so long ago. They've been a right pain. So I've just been sticking with this line. I think it's definitely the best part of my peg. Just a case of like, keep searching where they are, and don't think this is the way, this bottom rig. Just going to give it another couple of minutes, he says. Yeah, just going to say it's not the way, and then I go and hook one. But it's almost like you're fishing 2 or 3 different pegs on one line, because it's so deep. I've almost like dropped onto the bottom rig, and you're almost like on a new line, because I haven't been anywhere near the bottom all day. Well, apart from right at the start. I haven't got a clue what this is. So it's almost like I'm starting a new line on my same line. I'll just give it, now I've had, oh, where's he going? They're like trying to get under the nets here. It's so deep close in as well, they've got lots of water they can get down under. Carp by the looks of it. Yeah, so just a little change like that. A little change, it's a big change really. I've gone from shallow to out on the bottom. I'll just give that another go. So 18 pound in that net. I'll just give that another go. Just to see what's going on. It's got me another fish, if nothing else. I can soon go back on the shallow line, and if that's the only fish I catch on it, it's a bonus. It's keeping that edge line fed. I've tried it once down there and it never looked like it was going to go, to be honest. It was a bit early. I'll keep feeding it. Could be a last hour job down there. But yeah, I'm just having a look on this. Definitely not as many shallow fish over there now though. You don't mind if I can keep ticking over with this rig. So that's a decent £3 carp, so if every bite you get's one of them, you don't mind. I just had an hide before that. Oh, I just had an hide before that, of all species. An hide on hard pellet on the bottom. I don't really have many hide. I think I've had a fish casters over there, or casters down the middle. I think you'd have caught loads of hide and small carp. A lot of funny little bites on this rig. There probably is still shallow fish. I'm still feeding the same way. Still feeding exactly the same way. So if there is any shallow fish still out there, they're just going to give me lots of liners really. You know when it's a proper bite, it's like 100 mile an hour. Just keep lifting and dropping. Got a duck there again. Fish just rolled over my float, as if to say, what are you doing fishing on the bottom? We're still shallow. Like I say, it's just nicked me a fish. And if it's a case of going back shallow again, sort of any minute now. Definitely been a good line to have though, this far bank line. A lot of pegs to my right. All they've got is open water. They've got margin line to go, but just open water, shallow fishing. I think a peg like this, well actually this peg and the peg next door, sort of different peg altogether, and you can fish against the far bank. Oh, just pricked something then. Just lifted the rig into something. Catching a few next door. Still don't know who's beating me or not, it's hard to say. Oh, there's a fish. I couldn't even entertain this rig earlier because I started on it, he fed, and it was just all over the place. Nowhere near the bottom. I think as the day goes on, it's in the shade now that where I'm fishing. I've actually only just noticed that. It's been sun there all day. It's actually shady now. It's another carp, I think. I'll just keep nicking one of these every now and then. Peg's definitely changed as the day's gone on. It's gone from loads of little tiny fish, odd decent F1s. Probably the last, get this one in, the last 5 fish have all been carp. Oh, spooked him then. Just jabbed him with a landing net, but he's in the bag. It's 18, 22. I'm trying to keep a track of what I got. I'm talking at the same time. Yeah, we'll Just go back on that. I'll stick on this for a little while. Stick on this. I mean, it only takes a couple of fish to get you confident in a method. Sort of tried this in a bit of sort of desperation. My shallow line had gone really slow. I thought I'll just try my bottom rig. You never know. Two fish for £8 in no time really. That's what it's about these matches, just chopping and changing, and there aren't many matches where you can go out. Oh, what's up in there? Up there. And then you can go out on one method and still be on that method at the end. You're still on plan A at the end of the match. You normally had a very good match. It's always come out just as you get it back. Back out again. Tangles love dropping out just as you're about to lift it out of the water. So I'm just same sort of procedure as shallow fishing. I'm just dropping my rig in. I'm just feeding, just pinging pellets. Probably not as regular. Probably like feeding. Give it a few seconds. A couple of little lifts. A little lift and feed again. Oh, there's a bite. Oh, missed it. There's no liners that time at all. It was literally just fed twice and a proper bite. So that's actually a good sign for this sort of fishing. Just proving to me there's not so many shallow fish here now. Oh, that was a liner though, saying that. They're probably at all different levels now. Probably all over the peg, but early on there was more fish definitely in that top, probably 15 inches. Oh, that foul looked. Just give it a little lift. I just pulled into a fish's belly or something. Oh, there's another one. Feels like one of them little tiny things. I don't know though. Ship at the right section. Not sure what that is. If you don't know in here, you literally don't know what you're gonna catch next. So many different species in here. It's another one of them eyed on the hard pellet on the bottom method. That renowned eyed method. But it don't matter. Fish is a fish. Had quite a busy day really, just been plugging away, chopping and changing rigs, all on the same line. Just sort of basically having a nice busy day really. Having to think about what you're doing. Ben opposite me is catching a few fish. I think to my right it looks quite slow down there. I'm not really sure, but it does look as though they're not doing a lot, but I often think that it's often deceiving at the end. You think people haven't caught and end up beating you, so we won't say anything yet. But just keep ticking along and oh, there's a bite straight away. I think this is the rig for now. I was just going to say this is the rig from now till the end, but you just don't know. It might be a case of catch a few on this, and then there's another ride I think, and then in like half an hour's time it could be shallow again. I don't know what we're catching eyed on this rig, but we'll just stick with it. A decent fish though. Decent eyed. Still on the 6mm pellet. I tried 4mm pellet earlier for a bit, but that was no good. Sort of tiny little fish every time. So I'll just stick with a 6mm. 6mm down that edge. I don't expect that edge to come alive at some time, but going on? Tangling. Not a tangle all day, he says. Oh, there's my pellet. It's so deep out there. It's not the sort of thing you do really when it's 4 or 5 foot deep against a feature, if you like. You don't normally fish on the bottom. But that's what you got. That's what you got to fish against. We all like to try and find the shallow water, but if there ain't any, you ain't going to find any. Oh, there's a bite. It's so obvious a proper bite's like 100 mile an hour. A couple of little dips and then shoots under 100 mile an hour. So you don't know what it's going to be every time. Since I've been on this, I've had 2 eyed, 2 carp, and now an F1. Pot belly eye, F1. 25 in now, I think. I really lost track of my nets. I'm normally quite good on my nets, but I'm a bit distracted today, so I have to keep a track on it. Playing it safe though. It's a £60 limit, so we should be alright. Yep, I think I'll just keep plugging away on this till the end. Well, not done about till the end, but the next hour or so. Just keep plugging away and hopefully that edge will come to life and catch some carp down there. If not, this line might just carry on till the end. Nice and simple. One line all day, that could be the way. Right, well, it's been a disappointing end to the match really. It's been nice and steady all day, and I think the last hour I've had next to nothing. It's been I say a bit disappointing really. The last hour when you should all be catching. It seems to be like everyone else is, but I'm not. I've just gone back out of my long line. I've tried my short line and my edge line. Basically caught nothing there. So I've gone back out long again, and it's really slow here now. Just literally can't hardly get a bite on anything now. It's been a real frustrating end, because I've been ticking away nicely all day. Got a nice steady match, sort of on the way really, and then it's just all gone wrong for me in the last probably like 45 minutes. I don't think I've had like two or three fish, and they've only been small things. So I'm just sort of last effort really. I've just gone back out on my long line and hoping to try and nick a couple of carp, but I seem to be catching all around me now, and I'm the only one not really catching. It's a bit frustrating. And so these matches they're so close normally, and I often won and lost in the last hour, and that's exactly what's happened today really. For me, it's been lost in the last hour. But still done alright, but oh, there's a bite. It's done alright, but just feel people overtaking me in the last half an hour. So, oh, so it's still odd bites out there. I just missed 2 bites, and they're probably them little fish. It's really now, like if I get a bite, I need it to be a decent sized carp. Another little dip. Just catching on, well, both sides of me seem to be catching. One's short and one's down the edge, I think. And I've really struggled on both. Well, all my other lines, apart from this line, I've struggled to catch on them. Oh, there's a little fish. This stage of the day, these ain't really much good. There's an hide actually. This stage of the day, I need to be catching 4 and 5 pounders. Shouldn't moan, they all add to the net. They all add to the net. I've also got a few fish in my silverfish net as well. I'm not really sure what's in there. A lot of little crucians and odd-eyed and little carp. No, he's getting one a chuck next door now. I just feel like he's overtook me. Definitely the last half an hour. He's probably had 20 pound and I've hardly had a fish. Don't think it's going to be a massive weight wins this section. If someone's got 100 pound, they won't be far away. I think I was heading for that, but just drifted off. Yeah, another nice fish next door. So yeah, a bit of a frustrating end to the day really. Don't know why I haven't been able to catch short. There's been loads of bubbles there. I don't know if everyone else has had the same problem, but it's just fizzing like mad. Just about there, top kitten one. It's been fizzing like mad there at times, and that's never good for catching fish. Oh, missed a bite. My edge line, I think I had one tiny little bite there. I really expected to catch some fish there, but not had a fish. And this line was looking good with an hour to go. I thought if I can just carry on nicking fish off this long line, I'd have been happy with that. I've had a nice steady match, and I don't think I'd have been far away in the section, but as it's turned out, come on, let's have a late flurry. Trying to talk one on now, but it don't seem to be working. Just keep lifting and dropping, trying to make something happen. Another little dip. So it's been really frustrating the last hour. I've lost a couple of decent carp as well. Funny little bites now. Not proper bites at all now, as early on they were just flying under 100 mile an hour. Just tiny little dips now. Another fish next door. Yeah, he's well overtook me now next door. I think I've been ahead most of the day, but well, I reckon he's had 7 or 8 fish, and I only had one. Or I've had one hide. Just get that feeling. It's all slipped away. Never mind, we've had a nice day, we've had a few fish. Don't think, oh, what's that? Something hanging on the end there, a little tiny fish, I think. Don't think we're going to be winning anything, but we've had a nice day's fishing. These ain't, oh, story of the last hour, that is.